Hello and shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Dr. Amira Ehrlich. I'm the program coordinator for graduate studies in music education at Levinsky College in Israel. Today, I'm happy to share this discussion with friends and colleagues from different locations in the world and from different religions and denominations. We're going to discuss a question of what makes music spiritual, or in other words, what does spirituality sound like? What we're going to try and explore, are there specific sonic or musical attributes that make a music spiritual? Is spirituality in music a matter of tradition, something that's been handed on from generation to generation? Is there a difference between spiritual musics in different religions because of these traditions? And perhaps, is spirituality in music just about context? The fact that a certain piece of music is being played in a spiritual context. So me and my friends and colleagues are going to look at different musical examples from different religions and from different global perspectives and try and explore these questions. What does spirituality sound like? I'm going to start with some music from my own religion, from Judaism, and I'm going to try and bring in two examples. One from the European descendant Jewish tradition known as the Ashkenazi tradition, and another from the Sephardi tradition, meaning the more Eastern-oriented traditions of Judaism. So I'm going to start with a piece that is based on, the text is based on the Psalms. It's in Hebrew, it's called Tzama Nafshi, and what this means is, my soul thirsts for you. And you can probably find this famous portion from the Psalms. And the melody for this prayer song was supposedly composed by the rabbi that we call the Lubavitcher rabbi, or the Chabad rabbi, the first of this tradition of Judaism, who lived in Europe during the 18th century. So let's take a look at how the followers of this tradition, the descendants of that same 18th century rabbi and one of his grandsons or great-grandsons, and how he and his followers sing this prayer song, My Soul Thirsts for Thee, God. So we have a simple call and response with the head rabbi singing the first phrase and his congregation replying in response. What happens to this prayer song, which is obviously for them a very spiritual and uplifting event, singing it with the head of their congregation, their spiritual authority? What happens to this music when it is relocated into a rock concert situation?
נפשי קמה לך בסער בארץ ציון ואריה לי מים.
So there's no more rabbi, And we're no longer sitting inside the synagogue or the study hall, but we're at a rock concert. And one of the most famous Jewish Israeli rock stars, Barry Sakharov, and his friend that we see now here, Yonatan Razel, and Daniel Zamir, a mix of Jews who define themselves secular or religious, and they're singing in a rock concert. And the rock star in the middle is calling and responding with the audience at a rock concert. Is this still spiritual music? It's the same melody. And what happens to this same music, once again, if it's sung not by a rock star, not by a rabbi, but by a woman and a cello? So is this still the same prayer song when it has been moved to a totally different context, once to a rock concert with a secular rock star collaborating with Jewish Orthodox religious musicians? And once again, when a solo cellist, famous cellist, Maya Belzitzman, who is playing this call and response between her voice and her cello. Is this still spiritual music? I think it is. But I think there are ramifications about moving music from context to context. And to make these ramifications clear, I want to jump to an extreme. And my next example is going to be from a different context of Judaism. It's going to be from the Sephardi context of Judaism. And that means that we're switching over to the Eastern descendants of Judaism. And prayer song, it's still prayer song, but it's going to be a little bit different. And we're going to see first how traditional Sephardi musicians will perform this song. And then we'll see what other contexts this prayer song can switch to. So we're going to start with the prayer song leader or Sephardi type cantor, Moshe Chabusha, singing the prayer song Nora El Nora. for sure, this music tells a very different story of a different global location and a different ancestry of Jewish tradition from the Sephardi tradition. And this is a prayer song being performed at a non-liturgical or para-liturgical event in the community celebrates sometimes when the Sabbath ends, at the end of Sabbath, because during Sabbath, Orthodox Jews will not play on musical instruments. But this is a para-liturgical event taking place, and a traditional prayer song, in this case, Nora El Nora, which was written and composed probably sometime in the early 20th century, possibly based on an Egyptian melody that was kind of stolen for the Jewish words. What happens to this prayer song when it goes somewhere else? Somewhere very different.
Okay, my friends, we are bringing you heavy metal music from the Middle East, and we play it everywhere in the world. Every time we play Nora El Nora, everybody jump. So I invite you all people, and also you guys, don't break this chain. Get up your asses and jump, all right? I said all right. Let's check this out. Jump!
So is this still spiritual? Is this prayer song being used or abused? Is this sanctifying the name of God, or is this sacrilegious? Now, these questions, I think, should be resonated as questions. Don't rush for an answer. I love these musics, and I think that these examples open up a wonderful world of discussion for what makes spiritual music, what makes music spiritual, and what is spiritual experience, and what are the contexts in which we experience spirituality. Are we still limited to the synagogue or to the para-liturgical community events in the community center or the JCC? Or can we experience Jewish spirituality or any other kind of spirituality at a rock concert or even at a heavy metal festival? So with these thoughts, I now leave you to my friends from different global locations and other religions to bring up some other aspects of this question. What does spirituality sound like? Thank you and shalom from Jerusalem.